let's move on to our final topic of the night, which has to deal with James Bond. So very recently, sometime this week, online discussion over potential replacements for Daniel Craig in the role of James Bond have become dominated by the idea of a woman taking over the role as James Bond. Ideas have been floated around from Hollywood reporters such as Helen Mirren, Lupita Nyong'o, and even Gillian Anderson from X-Files. And Miss Anderson is obviously down for the ideas because this is a literal official tweet that she sent out. Some fan had made this for her. But I want to kind of end this off by discussing, the future James Bond, specifically this notion going around about a female James Bond. I guess for me personally, it's an interesting idea to say the least. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if it did happen soon, it seems sort of abrupt. Or would it be abrupt? I don't know. I've been going back and forth with this idea. I don't know because it's just such a jarring change. I mean, let's face it, James Bond's been a fucking man for shit. How far does this go back? Like 60s or something?
Yeah, 60s.
So, I mean, as long as it retains the essence of why I love James Bond, I mean, he could be. It could be black. It could be a black man. It could be a gay man. It could be a woman. I don't care. As long as when I watch it, I'm reminded of why I love James Bond. Same way, like with Heath Ledger as a Joker. Does he look like the Joker? No. I mean, there's so many things about Heath Ledger's Joker that is just so bizarrely different. But it retains the essence, the overall theme of the Joker. That's why I love Heath Ledger's performance so much. So if they went with this is what I would hope. But what are your thoughts on a female James Bond?
So for me, how do I put this nicely? I'm not necessarily in support of them going that route. Not because of a feministic standpoint of having a female, change gender or even if it was like it was a different race or somebody, you know what I'm saying? I think the problem is for me is if they want to make a female antagonist, give her her own arc, give her her own story. She shouldn't be just changed to James Bond. I think that just like they did with Jason Bourne, they've made a legend out of Matt Damon's Jason Bourne. And when Matt Damon retires from that, they could go and reboot and it can continue that same exact process. I feel like they could easily go and do that with the female lead. When I looked at the last Mission Impossible movie and I saw the female protagonist, I thought she was amazing. She did even better to me than Tom Cruise did. And I could see something like that being its own film. And so any of those actresses, I say go for it with that. But I think that just like when I think about the Joker, for instance, if they had made the next Joker a freaking female, I would have been like, wait, what are we doing here? Like, I mean, it would have changed my whole perception of why they were doing it. Like, are they doing it for the sake of like clientele and hitting this demographic, or are they doing it to make it an authentic story, make it make sense? And I just don't feel like it would. I could see like them changing actors, like if it was Tom Hiddleston or if it was freaking, I don't know. Like I think that Idris' name has been carried around for a long period of time. I would love them to see him, either one of those guys, carry that mantle. But I just personally, I don't think that they should do that. I think that they should really try to take a female and give her her own spy thriller, give her her own story arc, or pull it from the archives and make it its own. That's just me personally. I don't feel like there's a need for that necessarily.
I don't. That's interesting. So if tomorrow, the production company, was it Sony? Who's the main studio behind James Bond? I can't even fucking remember. But either way, let's just say that tomorrow Was it
MGM? I think.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. With the lion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So let's just say like tomorrow they announced. They didn't announce who it was, but they announced that in the next James Bond film, James Bond is a woman.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
So for me, I would watch it, but I know public perception, they would just have a problem with it. And I think the same exact thing happened with Ghostbusters. I mean, well, the Ghostbusters film kind of looks pretty bad.
It looks terrible.
But people, when they just heard it was going to be a female cast, they just had a field day with it, and they've been basically raping it ever since. And it's sad. So I feel like if that got announced randomly, I don't know, man. I think that people would have a real jaded kind of feel about the film before it got there. Now, even if it was tight, I would watch it. I would definitely watch it.
First off, I would love to see. First off, I like bold ideas. I like things that are different. It's something that's kind of like a mantra of mine, and I would be really excited to see it. I do think that the reaction would be extraordinarily intense. It'd be like before anyone saw him as a Joker, it'd be like the hate for Heath Ledger as a Joker, like quadrupled, like on steroids. It'd just be crazy. But first off, these choices honestly don't work for me. If these were in the official running, Helen Mirren, Lupita. I mean, I think the issue with Lupita is that I've never seen her. Well, there's a few problems. First off, physicality is a big thing. You know, James Bond, I mean, especially like with the Daniel Craig version, I mean, this is a motherfucker who gets down, all right? So the physicality needs to be there. And also the charisma is a really big thing as well, the suaveness. I don't know if, I'm not saying Lupita couldn't do it, but man, I think it would be really difficult for her, especially with Gillian. I think, the physicality thing could be a problem, because, I mean, if we're going to continue down the Daniel Craig-ish route in terms of realism, and which I think we just are going forth, in my opinion, I don't think we're going to backtrack to, Halle Berry bikini and run away from giant lasers, but I think they're on the right track with the Daniel Craig sort of level of realism. But I don't know, these choices. What do you think about these choices?
I mean, none of them really kind of did it for me. I mean, when I looked at the male choices that somebody gave me a list of like David Oyelowo, Tom Hiddleston, Idris. I mean, some of those, I could see them as serious contenders of being able to do it. It's just, I don't know, man. I really don't know.
I don't know. I mean, Idris Elba, I was really excited about. That would be just insanely dope to me personally. As far as a female goes, holy shit, man. If I had to pick someone, it needs to be someone like a Margot Robbie. It needs to be someone with someone like that. For sure.
Yeah.
I guess you could take the safe route and just pick like a complete unknown and just try to Daisy Ridley this son of a bitch, possibly, which might actually turn out to be the best choice. But I almost feel like you do need a recognizable face, though.
I think that you have to. It has to be a face that you can immediately trust, even if you don't know if they can pull off James Bond. I can't think of anybody right now.
Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't know if there was a woman that sort of comes to mind for you. I think if she perfected the accent, I think like Angelina Jolie when she was younger would have fucking crushed it. But
yeah,
she probably would have been goddamn perfect. But
I don't know, man. I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking of that chick of on Game of Thrones. What's her name? The one that's the younger queen that the king married. I forget her name.
Oh wait, Natalie Dormer?
I believe so.
Oh yeah,
Something about
Natalie.
her
Damn.
I can see her like getting into it and making her
Damn.
own.
That's interesting. Unfortunately, I don't. Has she led a film before? Well, I think she was a lead in some movie called The Forest, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how well that one did. I don't remember it being like hated per se. It could be totally wrong, but that's an interesting choice, though. I could see that. I don't know. Let us know your guys' thoughts on this. If this female James Bond idea that's been floating around the fan base. So, what do you think? Do you love it? Does it make you want to just tear your eyes out? Let us know your thoughts. Unfortunately, I can't think of like any examples of who I would hope to see, but let us know what you think about the idea. Who would you want to see as a female James Bond? Let us know down below. I think we're about to close out, but any final thoughts on our final topic before we close out?
Man, just preserve the legend that is James Bond, or Jane Bond, I guess you could say now.
I guess let's close off on what do you think of the likelihood that we'll ever see a female or a non-white or non-heterosexual James Bond? What do you think?
I think the non-heterosexual and the non-white is very plausible. The female version, I don't know. I just don't know if that's going to be something that's going to happen. But if you get the right person, you get the right script, and get the right director, anything is possible.
True. I think the non-white could work for sure. I think that's plausible. Non-heterosexual, I don't know. I think people are still largely pretty fucking ignorant, though. I mean, motherfuckers are about to kill themselves over, who sexually can use this or this bathroom at the current time. So I don't know if they can't get past that. I don't know how the fuck they get past just a blatantly gay James Bond. So I don't know about that one. That might take a while. As far as the female one goes, I kind of hope it does happen, just because it's just such a mind fucking idea. Actually,
yeah.
Ooh. I'd be blown away.
You know who I think
accurately
do good as James Bond, and it sucks because he's tied down right now. But real talk, I think the Superman could be a great James Bond, bro. Like I think that I think the Henry Cavill has the charisma, the look, the versatility. And like I think when I looked at Man from U.N.C.L.E., like I know that they held him back from going that route. But I was like, this dude could have played James Bond. Like, is there something in me that I was like, he easily could just walk in and get some direction, and I think he could nail it. Honestly, it's a weird feeling. I don't know if they would do that though.
I mean, I think my dream pick for next James Bond is for sure still Idris Elba. I think he would just crush it.
I do too.
Fuck, it would just be so savage. But Henry Cavill, I think it could be done, but he would have to do something real different for me personally, just as a performer. Like he would have to go to the levels with his acting that I didn't know he could go to.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Daniel Craig, I mean, he has done such a hell of a job. I mean, like emotionally where he went, like especially with Casino Royale, just certain facial gestures and just like he really went all in. His take on James Bond. So that's an interesting choice. But yeah, let us know your guys' thoughts on that down below. We're about to get the fuck out of here. Peace out, guys.
Later, y'all. Oh, man.